Hello and welcome to another game of Dota 2! It is in fact Dota 2. That was the first one. There was actually another one called Dota All-Stars in the middle. The development got really wonky. And I'm not too caught up, but it was a bit before my time. But what isn't before my time is this game we have right in front of us, and that's the worst segue I have ever done so far. Like last game, actually, we have another Shadow Fiend mid, but this time playing for the Dire. It looks like he will be laning up against the Void Spirit. And I don't actually know how that one goes. Very nice animation on the Void Spirit, but I don't believe the Void Spirit shield works against Shadow Rays, so that might be a Shadow Fiend favoured lane. Though I will admit, late game, Shadow Fiend looks to have a little bit of a problem, especially if the Void Spirit goes Ags. I do not know how popular that is currently. But we'll see, hopefully, if the auto-director demands it, we'll see who will win that mid lane. And if not, I'll guess from health bars and last hits. Now, up top, we have PA into Death Prophet. Offlane Death Prophet, played by General, who is a pro player. I don't know what team he's on. But, I mean, at least someone who may or may not be General. Death Prophet offlane, not something I've seen in a while. I've heard it's been playable for a long time, but not too popular. Tanky hero, has some pushing, has some general utility. We'll see how it works. But I think a big part of that is it should be reasonably self-sustaining with Siphon. Against a PA and a Witch Doctor, certainly pre-6 on both those heroes. I think they hold no kill threat, which should open the Earth Spirit up for rotations. And that rotation towards the mid is going to be extremely important on the 4-minute bounty runes and for a general gank, especially when he picks up that possibly a level 4 point in Geo Grip for the silence. Shouldn't be too necessary, but Shadow Fiend is a hero without any kind of escape in the early game. Has to itemize into it. And doesn't really want to go for an escape first item. So, very vulnerable to rotations. Now, the final lane that we have to be concerned about is this bottom lane. And we are getting a bit of a look at the mid lane at the moment, so let's just see. It seems like a very clean first wave for Void Spirit. We'll see if he can actually pick up some denies as well. Just to see what has the Shadow Fiend done. Raise, we do always see them go raise. Going, the passive is pretty bad. Or at least, yeah, you know what I mean, I'm sure. But down bottom, we have a Morphling. Morphling is very weak, first level, weak. Gets a little bit better second level, certainly, because he picks up Waveform, and that gives him the chance to actually escape. But still pretty weak until level 3, and then another major spike at 5. Coddle, however, much easier to kill, trying to duke around the creep wave to try and dodge some of the battery assault damage, but will quite likely be going down for the first blood right now. And he does, falls to the Clockwork. Clock Bat, pretty aggressive lane, going to put out quite a lot of damage. As time goes on, those stickies get stacked up, and Coddle's going to have a really hard time. Clock started boots. If he's ever caught, he's gonna get stunned up, and that's, yeah, as we can see, that's the level 2 coming in clutch for the Morphling. If he was level 1, he probably dies there. Speaking of dying, PA is in a little bit of trouble, but without the level 2 on the Earth Spirit, it is going to be a little bit harder. Earth Spirit started with Kick by the looks of things. Nice damage spell, not so good for setting up, but now he has both with the level 2. It's pretty big. Nice prediction on the Clockwork. Manages to stay on the Morphling even through the end of the waveform, but that's a big stick, and Clock is now in a bit of a precarious position with low HP, as is the PA. But, and mid as well. Every lane is on the edge of death right now for somebody. But mid, the Void Spirit salves up. Everyone gets away. Everyone heals up. So, thoroughly disappointing. Either way, mid seems completely even. Perhaps one side is spending a bit more on regen. I'd expect that to be the Void Spirit. But we might actually have a kill here on the General. Will Siphon be enough to keep him alive? It looked like it was, but no, one final right click from the Witch Doctor is enough to clean him up. But there is a bit of a creep advantage here if Earth Spirit feels like he might be able to go for something. And back on the mid lane, we do see Void Spirit's kind of being zoned out by the Razors. It's very hard. Coming into the creep wave, especially when Shadow Fiend on top of it, is pretty much a free setup for a 4-raise. He can get you on the way in, and then by the time you're on the way out again, your cooldowns will be up. So he's going to have to use spells to actually get in and out, but Dissimulate is on the 20-second cooldown at the start, and it costs quite a lot of mana, so it's not ideal. It's very much not the ideal way of playing it. So it's starting to dominate, but you should have a little bit more mid-game mobility and impact a little bit faster on this Void Spirit than on the Shadow Fiend. He kind of wants an item. So it's very possible that the difference will be made up going into sort of the 5 to 10 minute period. Nice little dodge there. But Clog is coming in, doesn't quite want to dive under tower. But his presence there alone is going to force the Void Spirit to play even more defensively than he already was. Kind of wondering if it's even worth it to be there, but he was there for 4-minute runes. Will secure it for the Shadow Fiend. And it's an Arcane rune, the one, probably the worst rune for to be actually picked up. Allows him to set up raises even easier. Morphling playing around on extremely low HP, as you'd expect. Missed roll from Earth Spirit, but that's so much damage. Quick Fairy Fire actually keeps him alive, along with permanently running that Voodoo Restoration. So it's a remarkably powerful skill. It's very, very resource intensive, but if you're in one of those lanes where the other team is just constantly going to do damage, which is obviously what's going to happen here, you'd be surprised at how much it gets out. It might actually be enough to pick him up anyway. Maledict is down, and Death Prophet's on the back foot. PA decides to start to move away. Didn't want to fully commit to that kill. Had some sort of sense, maybe was worried about a rotation, since the Void Spirit was off map. Ooh, nice kick. Actually finds it, and the jump to dodge out from the boulder might actually be the end of the PA, but no, the Earth Spirit ended up under tower and will be backing away. Everyone, it's a free-for-all down bottom, or rather up top. It's free-for-all up top, and with the coconut that might be enough. Maledict will be kicking out any damage. Yep, that's Death Prophet gone. An Earth Spirit on the retreat. Clock underneath the tower takes a lot of damage. Doesn't actually get a huge amount done to the Morphling, but ooh, nice little waveform to dodge out. One of my mates just asking if I'm casting, and yes, I am. I'm just sort of casting to myself at a public channel. Hopefully no one can see what I'm called in there, because it's not what I am, but who cares? Oh, there we go. Here's the rotation I was talking about from the Earth Spirit. Mid should be an easy kill onto the Shadow Fiend, and that's what you need. Mid was really starting to swing towards the Shadow Fiend at that point, as you can already see. In fact, the Void Spirit's ahead thanks to that kill, but you can imagine that without it, he was a couple hundred gold behind. And again, just as I said, okay, I'm getting distracted, but yeah, nice. The turnaround from the Earth Spirit and the Coddle's there. I don't actually know how that new ability works, but it's the second game I've seen it in a row, so it might be quite good. And they actually find the Witch Doctor off the back of that. It's not quite a rotation, it's a return almost. Clock now getting pressured by the Morphling. That's the thing with this hero. He looks like he's on low HP. And he looks like he's on low HP, but then he pressures you anyway. Oh god, where was I? It's 6 minutes in, 7 minutes in, I'm completely lost. Nice stack from the Clock. He can't quite get there, so he is going to use the Rocket Flare to do it. But he just had to make sure he was within the aggro range. And we'll start to see probably the Dire trying to push a more sedate pace into the game, and the Radiant trying to absolutely ramp up the tension. They have a very aggressive lineup in terms of the double spirits that they're running, and playing off Exorcism, basically using it almost off cooldown when an opportunity presents itself, when the skill is actually obtained. Always worrying to see the Morphling's health drop at the top there, but no, that's just attribute shift. But yeah, the Coddle is sort of whatever. That's a nice defensive support if you need it. General might actually be overextending here. Only has one charge of Siphon up, and their eyes are Clock waiting there. He wasn't ready for it. Does Spirit has a roll up, should be fine to actually just dug away. They weren't able to get in front of it in time. But that's a little bit concerning. They weren't ready for the Clockwork. Absolutely not. Nice little play. I've never actually thought about that, dragging the creep wave over to the rune with you. Feels like you're giving up quite a lot of information. If Clock's there, you know something else is going to be behind him, and that is Witch Doctor. No ult yet. If he had it, that would have been a lot scarier. And there's the shield. He might actually look to go back in. Spirit just about getting away, but is ticking out to the Maledict. Might go down. No, will just barely survive on the last tick. Thanks to a little bit of last minute HP regen. The Dire starting to actually play with a lot more pace than I expected. I mean, they do have a bat and a clock. And speaking of the bat, he might... Yes, he will, with the last sticky, get enough damage to bring down the old man. But up top, that's a play onto the PA. Does look like he's out of cooldowns and mana, so it won't be enough Shadow Fiend there to give the PA the jump out. I'm a little bit surprised at how quickly the Dire is starting to play. I would have expected them to want to get an item online before they really get aggressive. This PA is going for Battle Fury, so which I think it's the right decision. You need to go you need to have a late game solution to the Morphling, which is going to be this Battle Fury. This Battle Fury option, this get really farmed option, where your Bat Clock, Shadow Fiend. Actually play this mid-game timing. They do have a very strong mid-game timing. The Clock's pretty much already at it. Doesn't have the hook shot yet, but doesn't really need it at this sort of point, and certainly doesn't need it when you have the bat setup with Lasso, which he has now. Though Clock is brought down by the movement of the Morphling up towards the top lane and the addition of the supports. Clock and Bat are going to be big this game. They're going to be the big initiators that actually set it up. Set up all of the mid-game play. Shadow Fiend's going to be the damage. Witch Doctor as well can do a lot of damage, but he's going to get quite a late 6, I'd imagine, since Clock, I will assume, will take the time. Yeah, he will take the time, so it's going to be delayed, and that's Earth Spirit just getting memed on. Probably just accepted he was dead there and wanted to let his carry get away and just make sure he didn't get anything happen to him. But that's Lasso down. That's actually quite important, because Lasso is a big way that they have to deal with the Morphling. They don't have a lot on the Dire to kind of shut down his ability to just get off a free attribute shift, and with it down, they're very free to just go on him. That is a nice move with the Shadow Fiend TP. This gets quite dangerous. They will get the Clock kill, but can Morphling now get out? It's going to be quite, with the DD. It's going to be quite hard for the Shadow Fiend to chase. But at the same time, he can just shift up so much strength, it's almost not worth your time. It's pretty guaranteed to some extent that he'll get out eventually. And you never want to overextend. He was the only one up there. So you may wonder, why did he let him go? That would probably be the reason. You never know when the Earth Spirit will TP and just absolutely murder you. But then the Bat doesn't care so much. The Bat's pretty aggressive, and there's no waveform to get him away from this. I don't know if he will even care about tower. He's not actually going to dive into tower, which is a bit of a surprise. That looked like a very dead to rights Morphling. And no, I'd say it's worth risking a suicide to shut down the Morphling. But what do I know? Aggressive play from the two spirits. They do catch the Clock. No, gets the taunt up, and yep, he's gone with a pop of the pulse. With the exorcism's pressuring that tower, so that was a nice reason. That was probably why they didn't actually smoke up. They were just trying to move towards their exorcisming Death Prophet. It didn't catch that at the start, and it's brought the entire remainder of the Dire team back down as the mid skedaddles, and so does the rest of the team. But they're not quite as quick, so they might be found. It does look like the old man will be killed, and the Lasso catches up the other support as well. But that's not too bad. They basically traded out one support for 2, and they got a lot of damage on the tower. But also, they pulled the entire Dire over. They got Lasso out, which kind of means Morphling is immortal for the next while. And on top of that, yep, that's another death on the Clock. They are desperately trying to go on this guy, but it might not be enough. The Death Lord will finish him off. But I would say that, yeah, and that's General gone as well. This Bat is actually starting to really pop off. Good positioning from him, the Witch Doctor, right now. But I don't know if he will go down. That's actually a lot of damage. One more roll will almost certainly do it. Maybe trying to bait him back in. Hard to say. Either way, a lot of space. Morphling's really not being contested at all. Doesn't have top farm at all yet, due to the absolute proliferation of this Batrider and the innately rather quick nature of my brain has stopped working. Shadow Fiend. He farms fast, and it's okay. He's second on net worth. He's doing alright. Bat just fed, which is pretty big. And I think he fed to... Yeah, he did actually feed to the Morphling, which is even bigger. And they're starting to get some kind of free damage onto this mid tower. They don't have Exorcism up, but that might not be too important. They have a Catapult. No Glyph to protect it, so it will fall now. But with that many people dead, and most of the Radiant congregating around the mid lane, they're definitely going to make a play for this tower, but PA down bottom will take a tier 1 in return. Almost has the Battle Fury finished up, which is an absolutely smashing timing. Not outstanding, not game defining, but absolutely not bad. They will get this mid tower, which pretty important. They immediately go on the clock, who is standing a little bit too close when it falls. And Earth Spirit smells blood in the water. He's looking for more. But Shadow Fiend's just a little bit too far away. That's an aggressive Death Prophet. Starting to wonder if that is actually general. I don't think it is. Trying to get that DD, but decides not worth the damage. And it's not the most damaging thing to have on a Batrider, so he just gives it up. Now, I am curious to see what happens. Looks like they want to make, a smoke play towards the... PA probably thinks she's safe underneath the ward. Ooh, do they not know she's there? Do they not? Are they going to miss? They might actually miss her. Nope, they've found her now. And there's not much in the way of actual escape. Please show me the fight instead of just the Radiant walking around. Okay, well, we can all imagine how that went. She got stunned up a few times and then a load of damage was done. Let's just imagine that happened. It's glorious, isn't it? I'm not doing a great job this time, but... no matter. Oh, that's a lasso. Please, show me! Show me what's going on, please. Okay, well, Morph got lassoed and died. Like to see, when one of the sports tanks the lasso, that's kind of good. It's kind of good in a way. Yes, they're feeding, but lasso being up means Morph can die. I don't see anyone else in this game that can actually stop the attribute shift. There's no... They'll need an Orchid, and then that can be purged. PA can't do it. Witch Doctor Coconut isn't going to stop it. Battery Assault isn't going to stop it. I am curious to see if he's looking for some sort of... If anyone's looking for some sort of silence. No. So yeah, this is a pretty clean Morph game in that no one has direct kill threat, but there is Maledict. There is a lot of damage to be done, which is good enough. I mean, if you force Morph to go full strength shift pretty much every fight, then he's not even a hero. Yeah, the danger is when you can't do that, and when he can play around freely with whatever health and mana he wants. But he's now reduced the triangle. Both carries are. Should have the Battle Fury completed on the PA now. Yep. But the mid laner has been caught, stunned up. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get anything off when he came down. It was a well-placed cogs. Just immediately chain stunning him. I'm getting a bit of lag, which isn't amazing, but nobody watches these anyway, so who cares? This is getting a little bit worrying. I think the Dire are really starting to pull ahead. With just the absolute astounding plays from the Batrider. He's been making all kinds of plays around the map. And that's a bit of a mistake from the Morphling, getting caught out by the Maledict Death Ward, but if they can get away more scot-free, that's not too bad. Gets the silence, trying to... no. Earth Spirit, valiant attempt, but unfortunately not amazing. Another kill for the Batrider. The Void Spirit's not doing brilliantly well, but now he has his Yules, he has sufficient setup. That's the power of travels, baby. Oh, that was a big crit. Just half the health of both heroes off a single dagger. That is some insane luck right there on the Battle Fury, and that kills them both. There's just the help is there, just too little, too late, and it might actually get dived under tier 3s. Will be getting dived under tier 3s, blown up in 2 razors and a lasso. That is worrying. This is a game that is starting to be placed very firmly on the Morphling's shoulders for the Radiant, and he is not top net worth. He converts net worth quite efficiently. You know, 1 goal on him is worth a fair bit more than 1 goal on a lot of other heroes, but I do not know if he can actually try and carry this game against 3 cores all more farmed than him, while his are not really able to contribute in the way. You know, 1v5ing this game is going to be hard, is all I can say. Especially when your supports keep getting picked off in the name of dewarding. And you know what, sometimes you have to play like this. You've just got to go for the deward and hope. But they're just running. Again, Morphling is there to cut off the Shadow Fiend. This would be a big kill. Has the setup with the Remnant, but the Remnant actually causes the stun to miss. But they find him anyway. Clock trying to catch him up. Deathward Maledict setup is there, but the Silence breaks it out, and there shouldn't be enough residual damage on the Maledict to finish off the Void Spirit. Clock managing to escape, but a pretty strong clap back off the Cottle getting picked out. Clockwork, the one who actually set it all up, manages to get away scot-free, surprisingly. And this is this is a Death Prophet that has fed 1,000 times and does not care about one more, and I love to see it. It's exactly what you need. Managing to set up on the Clock, who actually gets away again! Incredible. They do want the much more tasty target of the PA, though, who, yes, nice pick. Nice boulder. Has another one, will land, and bring him down. Who cares if the Clock gets away? He's actually come back. Felt bad about escaping that time. Decides to feed again. But there's the hook shot onto the mid laner. Will be bring him down, but no. A quick step away. Doesn't matter. Maledict takes him out. Old man caught again. And there's the Death Prophet once again getting absolutely atomized by razors. Perhaps an ult that didn't need to be used. We didn't know where he was. So it was a good way of covering the ground. Pretty clever. That is what we call overstaying the welcome. However, it has moved Morphling up to, well, let's be generous and say second in the net worth off the PA kill. It's very worth it in that respect. Looks like, speaking of worth it, the the movement from the Witch Doctor wasn't. Ooh, might get the Roche deny. No, that was slightly unfortunate. Morph doesn't want to go back, especially considering he sees the Batrider. Morphs into the Batrider to steal the all-terrain movement. Oh, he's caught the Morph, and that's the chain with the hookshot, but it's not enough. There's just so much health on that boy. He got it off pretty quickly. But yeah, as you can see there, if you can actually chain all of the tables together, the Morph is quite a target. And Lasso and a hookshot both pierce BKB, so BKB doesn't actually change what we just saw, which is probably why he hasn't bothered going it. He's picked up the Yules instead, and that's a... Okay, I have no idea. That was some weird artifacting right there. Okay, they've smoked up, though weirdly the shotgun doesn't get smoked on the taunt. I wonder... Well, I guess it would never matter, but I'd be curious to see how that actually interacted with the other team. It looks like they will just be smoking into Witch Doctor, though, which is a little disappointing, but... and that's the power of an E-Blade. This is kind of good fight time for them. This is pretty good fight time. It certainly... They might want to wait until the E-Blade for the E-Blade cooldown, but they have caught the PA. That's a lot of damage! Magical nukes popping the PA. 2 heroes gone immediately out of the fight, and Clock isn't given a chance to engage, has to pop the hookshot in the vain hope of trying to buy some time, but doesn't manage it, and that leaves the last 2 heroes in full retreat against 5. Exorcisms pop, they'll be taking this tower for absolutely nothing. And that's all off the back of a couple of quick picks with the E-Blade. It's now forced. There's no lassos, so Morphling doesn't have to be too afraid yet. Might actually have a chance to turn around and go for the Shadow Fiend if he wants to. Gets the stun, sets up for the Earth Spirit. But the Earth Spirit was looking to get away. BKB forced with almost bringing down a Shadow Fiend, who is then going to pop the Earth Spirit. And even Sniper's Courier to add insult to injury. But we'll see what happens next. It feels this is a very skirmishy game, and that's a commitment from 2 at the same time. It looks like the Radiant came out better. Batrider grabbed the wrong target and allowed the Morphling just to blow him up. Now Morph has gotten in the back lines. They need to focus him down. They have the Death Ward, but not the Maledict. Hook shot onto the Morphling as they bring down the Coddle on the back lines by the PA, but Morph is out of the fight. Out of mana, though, which is going to make it hard for him to actually make a lot of use. And then he attribute shifts too low and actually ticks out to the urn. That's a big mistake, and that might cost them quite dearly. The Spirits are now desperately trying to fight a retreat and hold on to as much as they can. Spirit not in the place he wants to be. But that's quite a lot of damage. They brought down one. Can they get a second? He uses himself up to buy a bit of time, but it's not enough. They might get the clock as well, just the chain stun, and they do. That is a huge reversal of fortune. Only the PA escaping alive. I did not see the Batrider fall during that fight. He did a little bit earlier. That's hell of a play. Managing, just knowing, even on their low HP, that they had such magical damage that they could blow up the the sort of less tanky targets so quickly. PA was not quite close enough. And as soon as Shadow Fiend and what's his face, Clock are gone, it becomes extremely hard for the Witch Doctor to hold his ground against 3, even if they're on that low HP. He didn't have Death Ward. That's kind of insane. So turns out the Morphling calculated death there actually helps his team out by tricking the other team into overextending. Very interesting. I'm amazed that happened. It's still a 9k lead for the Dire, but it honestly doesn't feel that terrible after watching that. I mean, that's a 5k net worth Earth Spirit absolutely tearing face. Yeah, and they just go again. I'm not surprised. They're not reliant on any cooldowns besides Exorcism, and they have that one up. They don't even particularly need to fight, and they're threading the needle between 2 packs of the Dire. If they find one of them, this could lead to a fight very similar to the last one. They find the Clock, who is just barely alive, actually gets the hook shot out. They couldn't finish him off there because of the E-Blade. The one downside of it is you can't right-click them afterwards to just do that last bit of damage. And that's Clock gone with hook, and he used hook shot. And they're even going to find the Batrider off the back of this by the looks of it. Maybe he can juke incredibly well, but the Earth Spirit's already there to cut him off. But they're actually going to give up on this because they don't want to chase the Batrider. Oh, but he's going to chase them. Morphling had backed away, and there was just enough space to find him. Yules set up, and there we go. I thought he'd die. But they decided to give him a freebie, a pet rock to take home with him. I really think that was a bit of an unnecessary death on the Earth Spirit, but equally the Batrider could have had a chance to get off there scot-free. And I think they assumed he'd take it rather than go back and feed for support. and with Batrider out of the game, this is a very good time. Certainly, his respawn time is a hell of a lot longer than Earth Spirit's. As soon as he's back in the game, oh no! But the hook shot on the Morphling into the Cogs setup and the Yules, they actually get the insta pop using the Shadow Fiend ult. So that's terrible. They cannot fight without the Morphling. Death Prophet will tick up to the urn. And this is a game that is absolutely all over the place. One side may be 11k up, but it does not feel like it. But that may be because the PA had not been in the fights where he needed to be. Earth Spirit doesn't look very... he's made of rock, but he doesn't look very sturdy at the moment. Trying to stand up to these 2 massive damage dealers. I cast out on the Morphling earlier, and to some extent, why are there all these strange tears in my screen? What? I don't understand. But I cast out on the Morphling earlier, and I will doubt still, as the PA is going to. I mean, they might not even put it on the PA. They might put it on the Shadow Fiend. He's felt more burstable by quite a significant margin, and it's been very odd. Yeah, there's Void Spirit getting picked off again. This really does, to some extent, feel very 1v5. He's trying to juke around, has the Dissimulate up, but no mana to actually do anything with it. Ooh, the blink into the top might buy him a couple of seconds, but no. Flame Break will finish him off. And this is getting worrying. They're sort of just feeding kills left, right, and centre. and the 15k net worth is quite a lead. I think they're doing an admirable job on the Radiant of taking these fights even with such a major item advantage. However, this is starting to look a bit too much to deal with. There's been a few very key mistakes from all players on the Radiant, being out of position and being picked off. But it remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. With the pretty impressive team fight that they have on the Radiant, there is every chance that they can still make the miracle fight happen. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be extremely hard. They absolutely cannot afford to let anyone get picked off before they take the 5v fight, and a brilliant hookshot from the Clockwork might do just that. But rather late dust, perhaps he was pulling it out of his backpack. But they will find the Clock in return and keep the Death Prophet alive. They find the Earth Spirit in mid, but that's a trade-off of 4 positions, and they might be able to go a little bit further. Overcommitment perhaps from the Void Spirit, jumping forward, baits out the BKB of the Batrider. And there is so much commitment on this top lane from everybody except Morphling. He's not there when his team needs him the most. And I wonder why. What is he looking for so desperately? Is it the Ag Scepter? Does he really feel like he needs that so badly that he was willing to sacrifice his entire team for it? And that looked to be a very promising fight. Had the Morphling been there with the E-Blade combo, he might have been able to find a couple of key pickoffs that really turned that fight around. But he's now got his Agnum Scepter. I don't remember what it does anymore on Morphling, but it looks like it lets him turn into his allies, and we'll see what he can make of this with Earth Spirit. And that's the Earth Spirit getting caught out, not the Morphling. It's going to be a little bit confusing from here on out, as we will see a couple of boys rolling around, though not for the next 62 seconds. This is a very solid opportunity for the Dire to make something happen. Looks like they will be making a move. They don't have the Earth Spirit. It's pretty dangerous for them to be like this. And PA's right in the middle, ready to jump the backline. They don't know she's there. And there she goes. General falls immediately, and Morphling is trapped in the middle of everyone. Tries to turn into the Void Spirit to get away, but it might not be enough. Waveform up to the high ground. Doesn't have a TP to get out. And there he goes. 1 crit, and he's down, and that will almost certainly be Rex. There's no buyback on any of those Radiant heroes. This is getting... yeah, I think it may be too late. I think going for the Ags there, perhaps a mistake. Perhaps it was too far gone already at that point. 26k net worth lead, I don't see any coming back from that. I have been optimistic for most of this game, considering how almost miraculous some of those fights had been. But there's just too much damage and not enough... well, yeah, not enough tank. There's just not enough, and it looks like the end of the game. Sort of run out of things to say. PA just doing a bit of fountain farming. I don't even care. The auto director's not showing it to me. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Looks like Void Spirit might still give it a go, but he gets silenced, and and he's just gone. He's just gone. Just gonna... ooh! And there goes the Death Prophet. The most fragile Death Prophet I've ever seen, frankly. Turns into the Void Spirit and gets lassoed. Probably the worst time possible. And here's some fountain farming. Yep, this game is thoroughly over. Thoroughly over. But I will... but since they're Dota players, they're incredibly stubborn. So they're going to fortify, because why not? Let's die a few more times in Fountain. It makes a lot of sense. Kind of annoying. But hey, they almost got the PA kill. Almost. And they do, in fact, get the Shadowfin kill. Well done, I suppose, Cottle. At least you tried. At least you tried. Yeah, a lot of mistakes, I think, from all parties on the Radiant. Getting picked off, bad itemization, and so on.